In African tradition, there's a story that says if a woman suffers in her marriage and listens to her husband without asking questions, God will bless her child, especially if it's a boy. Many African women go through tough times in their marriage homes. They're treated badly, punished, and even hated. But if a woman doesn't respect her husband, if she disobeys him, it will affect her children, especially her sons. This story is like advice for all African women. It reminds them to be good to their husbands and to follow what they say. If they do, good things might happen for their children. As we share these stories, let's remember to subscribe, like, and share them. Together, we can help these voices be heard. Once upon a time, there lived a woman named Canko. Canko was a kind and loyal wife to her husband. She knew exactly when her husband was hungry or upset, and she always made sure to take care of him. Canko respected and obeyed her husband without question, believing it was her duty as a wife. Despite her kindness and obedience, her husband harbored a deep dislike for her. He couldn't stand to be around her, and even avoided her whenever possible. Every day, Canko would wake up early to prepare her husband's meals with love and care. She would tend to their home, ensuring everything was in order. Yet, no matter how hard she tried to please him, her husband's heart remained closed to her. In both the Quran and the Bible, there's a powerful message about the roles of men and women in a household. It's said that a man is the leader of his home, the one who provides for his family. Women are told to honor and obey their husbands, as it's written in the Holy Quran that if a woman is praying and her husband calls, she should answer him. It's believed that even in that moment, her prayer remains pure and untouched by interruption. This teaches us that no matter what, a woman should always show respect to her husband. In Canko's village, her husband Palamin had 3 wives, Feren, Koria, and Canko, who was the first. Among them, Palamin favored Feren the most. He loved her deeply, and whatever Feren said went, it was final. Palamin respected her opinions greatly. However, Canko, the first wife, had a different story. Palamin didn't like her at all. Despite her loyalty and obedience, she faced his dislike every day. Whatever Palamin asked, Canko did without questioning. She felt heavy-hearted, knowing he didn't care for her. This difference in treatment caused sadness and trouble in their home. Canko cried. While Feren enjoyed Palamin's love and respect, Canko felt his dislike deeply. With time, this gap between them only grew wider, leaving Canko feeling alone and hurt. In the household of Palamin, Feren, his favorite wife, was blessed with a son named Momorie. He was known as Feren Momorie, a cherished child in their home. However, Canko, the first wife, also had a son, but Palamin didn't give him a name. They simply called him Kekura, which means new man in the Mandingo tribe's language. This decision stemmed from Palamin's deep-seated hatred towards Canko, leaving her son without a proper name. Despite being the eldest son, Kekura lived under the shadow of his father's resentment towards his mother. While Feren Momori basked in the love and attention of his parents, Kekura remained nameless and overlooked. The disparity in treatment between the 2 sons mirrored the division within the household, a constant reminder of the unfairness that plagued Canko's life. Yet, amidst the darkness of his father's disdain, Kekura remained resilient, embodying the meaning of his name as he faced each day with courage and determination. Feren, Palamin's favorite wife, was known throughout the village for her beauty and grace. Her presence lit up the room, her features radiant and captivating. Her kindness and warmth endeared her to all who knew her, making her beloved not only to Palamin but to everyone around her. With her charming smile and gentle demeanor, Feren's beauty was matched only by her inner goodness, making her a treasure in Palamin's eyes and in the hearts of those who crossed her path. In the village where Canko, Feren and Koria lived with their husband Palamin, the tradition followed the Islamic and Mandingo customs. According to these traditions, the responsibilities of the wives were divided into days, with each wife having 3 days of exclusive care for Palamin. During their designated days, the wife was responsible for cooking meals and sleeping with Palamin at night, as agreed upon by tradition. However, during Canko's 3 days, Ferrin decided to exclude Canko from sleeping with her husband due to her resentment and animosity towards her. Despite the agreed-upon rotation, Ferrin's actions stemmed from a heart filled with bitterness towards Canko. Unbeknownst to Canko, it was her turn to cook that day. However, Ferrin, driven by her animosity towards Canko, decided to take advantage of the situation. She moved to Palamin and demanded to sleep with him that night, threatening to leave the house if he refused. As Canko approached Palamin's door, she announced herself, but Palamin, swayed by Ferrin's influence, dismissed her as a nuisance. "Who is that?" Palamin inquired. "It's me," Canko replied softly. "It's me, Canko. I'm here to sleep as today is my turn." Looking irritated, Palamin grumbled, "Look at that fool at the door disturbing us." Ferrin, opening the door, hissed at Canko and spewed insults her way, causing Canko's heart to sink with hurt and rejection. Turning to Palamin, Ferrin complained, "I will leave your house very soon because you allow all kinds of disgusting and dirty women to disturb us while we are sleeping." "Don't worry," Palamin responded callously. "In the morning, I will flog and beat her until blood spills from her back." This betrayal of trust further deepened the divide between Canko and Palamin, as Ferrin's manipulation drove a wedge between them. Despite Canko's innocence and obedience, she found herself unfairly punished, her suffering exacerbated by the callousness of those she trusted. In the morning, as Palamin sat eating breakfast, he called for Kekura. "Go find a big cane," he commanded. "I will use that to flog your mother." Kekura hurried to obey his father's orders and brought back a large cane. But to Kekura's surprise, Palamin declared the cane too small and used it to flog Kekura instead, for not finding a bigger one. When Palamin turned to Canko, she pleaded, "What have I done to you?" But Palamin silenced her with a cruel smirk, promising retribution for her supposed transgressions. With a special rubber cable, he forced Canko to lie down as she trembled in fear. "Don't worry," Palamin sneered, "you'll see what you did wrong." And with that, he began to flog and beat Canko, causing her to cry out in pain. She cried. Kekura, too, felt the sting of his father's wrath as he endured the punishment alongside his mother. As tears streamed down her face, Canko knelt in prayer, seeking justice from a higher power. "Dear God," she cried, "you see everything. If today is not my turn, don't answer my prayer. But if today is my turn, fight for me and grant me justice." And with her heart heavy with sorrow, Canko continued to pray, hoping for deliverance from her suffering. As Canko, on her knee on the ground, bruised and broken, she sang a song of sorrow, her voice trembling with pain and anguish. With each verse, Canko poured her heartache into her song, finding solace in the music that echoed her pain. As Canko sat on the ground, tears streaming down her face, her son Kekura approached her, tears also welling in his eyes. With a trembling voice, he called out to her in their native Mandinka language, na, which meant, "Mama, mama, mama," he cried. "Mama, why did Papa flog us today?" Kekura asked, his voice filled with confusion and pain. With a heavy heart, Canko wrapped her arms around her son and whispered, "My dear son, your father flogged us without reason, only because of his hatred. I haven't done anything wrong to him," she explained softly. "But don't worry, my son. God will bring us justice." In that moment of despair, Canko found solace in her son's embrace. Their shared tears a testament to the bond that held them together amidst the cruelty they faced. Together they clung to hope, trusting in a higher power to deliver them from their suffering and bring light to their darkest days. As Kakura sought comfort from his mother, he voiced his inner turmoil. "Mama, am I truly my father's son?" Canko embraced her son tightly, her heart aching with sorrow as she replied, "My dear son, you are indeed your father's flesh and blood. He is the one who introduced me to everything in this world." But Kakura's confusion persisted. "Mama, why did Papa not give me a name like he did to my younger brothers? People only call me Kakura." With tears in her eyes, Canko gently explained, "My son, it's all because of his hatred. But remember, you are loved and cherished, regardless of the name you bear." In that tender moment, mother and son held each other close, their tears mingling in a shared embrace of pain and love. Though their hearts were heavy with the weight of injustice, their bond remained unbreakable, a beacon of hope amidst the darkness that surrounded them. "I want to leave and start anew. If I don't leave, Papa might end up killing us," Kakura confided in his mother, his voice quivering with fear and determination. Kanko's heart sank at her son's words, but she pleaded with him. "Kakura, please don't. If you ask your father, he might punish you severely. He could hurt you," she warned, her voice laced with worry. Tears flowed freely down their cheeks as they embraced each other, sharing the burden of their pain and uncertainty. Despite Kanko's plea, Kakura remained resolute, declaring, "But Mama, I have to tell Papa, no matter what." In that moment of shared anguish, mother and son found strength in each other's presence, united in their resolve to confront the injustice that plagued their lives, even at the risk of further harm. Canko, her heart heavy with concern for her son's safety, urged Kakura not to confront his father directly. Instead, she commanded him to seek the help of his brother, Feren Momori. With a sense of urgency, Kakura dashed off to find Momori, his words tumbling out in a rush as he pleaded. "Momori, please, I need you to go to Papa for me. Ask him 2 questions. If I am truly his son, let him give me a name today. And also, tell him I need my share of our family's wealth. I want to leave before the stress of this house kills me." Momori wasted no time and swiftly relayed Kakura's message to Palamin. However, Palamin's response was met with disbelief and frustration. Laughing with an angry face, he dismissed Kakura's request, insisting that Kakura should speak for himself and clarify if these were truly his own words. Undeterred, Kakura stood before his father, his voice trembling but determined. Surrounded by villagers and elders, he recounted the message he had sent through Momori. "I asked Momori to inquire if I am your true son and to request a name for me today. People call me Kakura, but Kakura is not a name. I also asked for my rightful share of our family's wealth so I can leave," Kakura explained, his words echoing with bravery and resolve. Palamin's response was chilling, filled with anger and threat. "I have given names to all your brothers, and everyone in the village calls you Kakura. If you fail to answer to the name Kakura, I will skin you alive," he declared, his words sending a shiver down Kakura's spine. Palamin's words cut through the air like a blade, leaving Kakura and his mother reeling with hurt and disappointment. With tears in his eyes and determination in his heart, Kakura stepped forward, facing the assembled crowd with a newfound resolve. "Today I will give myself a name," he declared boldly, his voice ringing out amidst the murmurs of the onlookers. Gathering his courage, Kakura addressed the elders with respect and humility. "I greet you, my people," he began, his words steady and clear. "Since my father has declared that he has no name for me, I will give myself a name today. I choose to honor the memory of my late grandfather from my mother's side. From this day forward, my name is Pakemo," he announced firmly, his gaze unwavering. As Kakura claimed his new identity, a hush fell over the crowd, stunned by his courage and determination. But despite his brave declaration, his brother Momori couldn't contain his laughter, mocking Kekura's decision. Undeterred, Kekura stood tall, repeating his chosen name with conviction, determined to assert his own identity and carve out his place in the world. From that day forward, he would be known as Kemo, a name he had chosen for himself, a symbol of his resilience and strength. As Kekura sat in his mother's house, tears streaming down his face, he expressed his desire to leave. "Mum, I've made up my mind. I want to leave tomorrow," he told his mother, his voice choked with emotion. With tears welling in her eyes, Canko responded, "Kekura, before you go, please tell your stepmother that you're leaving to seek a better life." "Mama, do you want me to bid farewell to people who hate us?" Kekura asked, his voice filled with disbelief. "My son, before you depart, go and gather a large bundle of firewood and give it to your stepmother. When she blesses you, it will not go in vain. You will surely receive the reward," Canko advised, her voice filled with wisdom and compassion. Following his mother's instructions, Kekura ventured into the deep forest to gather firewood. He presented the bundle to his stepmother, knowing what awaited him. "Mama, please bless me. By God's grace, I want to leave and find a better life. It's not easy for me here," he implored. In response, Kekura's stepmother, Feren, offered her blessing. "May you succeed in your journey," she said solemnly. With a heavy heart, Kekura replied, "Amin," accepting her blessing as he prepared to embark on his journey to a new beginning. As the sun rose on the next day, Kekura met his mother in their humble room. Eager to begin his journey, he gathered his few belongings, ready to depart. With a mixture of pride and worry, Canko handed him a traditional mat, a symbol of their home and heritage. "My son," she whispered, "do not tell your father about my involvement in your travels. Pa Lamin may make a bad decision for me if he finds out." With a heavy heart, Canko and her son set out on foot, embarking on a journey into the unknown. They walked for miles, the road stretching endlessly before them. Finally, at a certain point, Canko halted, knowing it was time to part ways. With tears in her eyes, she gave her son 5 leones, all she had left. "Son," she said, her voice trembling with emotion, "whenever you face difficulties, use this mat. Pray and call upon my name, and God will help you." With a final embrace, mother and son held each other tightly, their hearts heavy with emotion. As Kekura continued on his journey, determined to carve out a better life for himself, Canko watched him go. Her prayers and hopes following him every step of the way. Then, with a heavy heart, she turned back towards home, knowing that her son's destiny lay beyond the horizon, while hers remained entwined with the struggles of their household. What a compelling story. I'm eager to see how Musa's journey unfolds in part 2. Remember to keep an eye out for it and share the story with your loved ones so they can also be inspired by Canko and Kekura's tale of resilience and hope. Subscribe to stay updated on the next chapter of their journey.